And hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Philip Page. If you've not yet subscribed, please go ahead and hit that subscription button and that notification bell, and while you're at it, go ahead and pound that like. This channel is dedicated to not all things paranormal, but the understanding and the research of life after death. And I know that this particular area is something that I haven't really delved into a lot lately. I have in the past, but not so much lately. Of course, I do a lot of sessions, and I've been going out a little bit more doing sessions, but I was approached or contacted by a viewer very recently who informed me that they recently had a loss in the family and that her daughter was having a little bit of difficulty coming to terms with it and dealing with it. And so we talked about it for a little while, and I asked her, would you like for me to create a video talking about life after death? And she said yes. So that is why for this video. But before we really get going, I want to give a shout out to our Patreons. To the Patreon members, I thank you so much for joining me there on Patreon. And the wonderful thing about Patreon is that we are able to have these live video chats where I can see everyone and we can have an actual back and forth dialogue, not to mention all the other perks that they get. So I want to thank you again. Alright guys, let's have a chat. Life after death. As far back as we have been able to use our brains and walk, every society has had their own version, their own thoughts, their own beliefs as to what happens. Now, as a disclaimer, I'm going to tell you that I'm not talking about religion. Religion is very specific to the individual, so I'm not talking about religion in regards to life after death. I am going to politely ask that as we get involved in this conversation that you please keep an open mind. Now, there are going to be some of you who are going to say, no, you're full of hogwash, I don't believe any of this. There's going to be others who will say, well, okay, I can see the possibility of that. Then there will be others who will say, I'm honestly not sure, I need to look into this. So all I ask is that you go into this with an open mind. The information I'm going to give you is based off of real science, but it's my theory, and I think there are other folks out there who have a similar theory. So let's break this all down. Everything, science tells us, chemistry, biology tells us that everything on this earth, everything in the universe, is created from the exact same matter on the atomic level. Everything is made up of the atom. Everything. It's even postulated that the Big Bang Theory was created from an atom. So, if we can keep that as our foundation, that everything, the monitor that you're watching this on, the camera that I'm looking at, your hair, your eyes, the car that you drive, everything on the atomic level is exactly the same. Everything has a different vibration. I'll get into that here in a little bit because that actually has been measured. But let's set that aside for right now. Biology. Biology tells us that we are carbon-based systems, meaning that most of our body is made up of different types of proteins. Water and proteins. That's what our body is made of. It is powered by an electrical source. That electrical source starts up in the brain with something called your synapse. The synapse is what fires electrical signals back and forth between the hemispheres of the brain. Now, I'm going to stop here real quick because I think some of you may be rolling your eyes saying, oh, what does this guy know? Again, I am not a scientist. I don't have a PhD. However, I do have an undergraduate degree in psychology and business management. I have a master's in business administration. Now, I'm not saying that to boast. What I am saying is that does, hopefully to some of you, prove that I do know how to research and not use Wikipedia as my go-to. Now, a lot of the research that I've done is on a PhD level, and I have those links down below should you care to look at any of that. But again, we have, and before I continue on, I worked in social services in counseling where we did do a lot of study of the brain and how the brain works. So, now, back to the main topic. We have the synapse that fires those impulses back and forth, and a lot of that information that's passed along is what controls your automatic responses, your breathing, your blinking, your blood regulation, your heartbeat, your bowels, everything. And then, of course, there is the want, the thing that you want to do. I want to eat this. I want to go here. That is tied into consciousness. That's being tied into awareness. Science has proven that consciousness is now, well, okay, hold on. Let me back up. Not proven, but they are studying and they are theorizing that consciousness is linked to energy as well, and that it is pure energy, because there was this old belief that you are your brain, and that once you die and the brain dies, then you die. But that's not the case, guys. Your consciousness, that which makes you you, is energy. It's its own form of energy. And it's even been said that we have enough energy inside of us to power, at rest, a 100-watt bulb. That's a lot of energy, guys. And if your consciousness is linked to energy, and if thermodynamics tells us that energy doesn't die, it just changes form, then I have no reason to not believe that we do not continue on once we die. Now, I kind of got off track there a little bit, so I apologize. But again, biology, we're carbon-based, run by an electrical unit. Thermodynamics, the study of energy. One of the basic laws says that energy does not die, it changes form and it changes state, but that all energy on this earth, in this universe, is contained, and that it's equalized. Not meaning it's gone, but it's made equal. So, if we take ice, for example, in a solid form, set it in a glass at room temperature, it's going to melt back to water, a secondary form. Then we take that water, apply heat to it, it changes to a steam, a gas, a third form. But it doesn't dissipate into just air, it goes back to the atomic level, a fourth form. And in fact, you can even look this up, water or air is made up of atoms. So everything is made up of atoms. Everything is the same on the atomic level. Let me work this in a different way. You have a car that you like. You love this car. This is your favorite car. You take care of it. You wash it. You polish it. You baby it. As time goes on, there's parts aren't working so well. You gotta switch out the battery more. The alternator isn't really working. And then the time comes when that car no longer drives. It is now dead. You, as the driver, you have not changed. You are still the same. The car is dead and gone. You are still the same. And you still move on. The same happens when we die. Again, I base this off of biology, chemistry, thermodynamics, and quantum physics, which are now saying that consciousness, again, is linked to energy. Now, something else that is measured just on a human form are wavelengths. Everything that we do is measured on a wave, or measured in a hertz. For example, our speech, it is measured between 70 to about 220 hertz. depending where your vocal range is at. So when we die, we don't have the lungs to push the air through that will vibrate our vocal cords. We don't have the mouth that will use its muscles to change form to create different sounds. We don't have that. What we do have are noises that travel on a frequency. And we can use those noises and alter those noises to create words. So whenever I am using, when I had the Angel phone, or now that I'm using Michael's Gate, if I'm using a scanning radio, an app, whatever it may be, if there is a noise there, if there are sounds, if there are frequencies, they can be manipulated. They can be used to create words. Why? Because they're energy, they travel on a wave, they vibrate to different hertz. It's the same as what we are doing right now when we have a conversation. It's just that this is done on a biological level, on, I guess you could say, the analog level. And what Spirit is doing is just altering the sounds that we are providing. Now, the one big thing is that this body, it harnesses that energy. And when you keep that energy harnessed, again, thermodynamics, it works for you. Take a look at a steam engine in a locomotive. They harness that energy. They harness that steam. That steam, that harnessed energy, pushes that train engine forward. It's the same with our bodies, guys. That energy is harnessed, which allows us to speak, which allows us to think, which allows us to do the things that we can do, and actually even more, but that's a different topic altogether. What I'm trying to get to is that basic science has proven that when the body dies, we continue on. When we have someone who has passed, a loved one, a pet, a friend, part of the reason that we mourn that loss is, frankly, because of what we get out of them being around. We enjoy their company. We enjoy laughing with them. We enjoy being in their presence. And when they've passed on, the physical isn't there anymore, so that's not something that we can share in. But the energy is there. The consciousness is there. Einstein theorized that we are energy, and that energy doesn't die. He used thermodynamics. I think I already said this. So, when a person crosses over, the body might be gone, but they are still there. They are still very much alive. If you go back to any of my old sessions, you've heard them say this. So, I hope this clears up some confusion. Hopefully it helps some people understand a little bit more. Again, I am not a scientist, guys. I do know how to research, though. And I have worked with the brain. So, I want to thank you all for joining in. If you have any questions or comments, post them down in the comments below. And I thank you guys so much. I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.